are definitely on live. I wanted to make sure that I muted out some of the stuff that's going on in the background. So, hello, ladies. I hope you got your mimosas or whatever it is that you're drinking, so we can put up our little toast. I don't know, Val, if I might not have said anything, but you got something there. Oh, okay. Here we go. A moo or something like that. Bottom line is just I had to step my game up. I had to step my game up according to the person that's on the show. So I had to break out the 1800.
Do y'all hear the recording from? I hear something else.
I hear that.
I do too.
I do too. I hear something in the background.
All right. Well, let me see what I got going on, because sometimes I do things like that. Y'all know how it is.
Yeah,
you hear me?
Recording in the background.
You hear me?
I hear like last week.
The intro.
Recording. Yeah.
Find it. Second, I'm gonna find it. Y'all keep on chatting. Okay, pretend like you don't hear it. I wanted to introduce everybody. Even though you hear an echo, I'm going to get rid of it in a few minutes, okay? But welcome to the show, 15th edition. I think it's one of the shows that I had on before, but we're going to keep it moving. Tara Lynn Towns, we got on the show, 501c3, but living beyond you, and child developed behavioral specialist out of Bayonne, New Jersey. Tamika Dixon, great WNBA great, current business owner and future Hall of Famer out of Linden, New Jersey. Penny Tola, WNBA great, the godmother, okay, general manager and future Hall of Famer out of DC, Chocolate City in the house. And one of my favorites, I just can't stand it, Pamela Wheeler, former player association director in WNBA, and now is a current professor, right, at Columbia University. I love it. Val White,
beautiful,
former NCAA champion on here with me. Stanford University WNBA player from South Orange, New Jersey, always continuing to do Microsoft in Virginia, corner in the market. Welcome to the show, ladies. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. I'm going to bleep out for a second and try to get this echo out of here.
I didn't hear what you just said. Was you talking to me? Who are you talking to?
Yeah, she said, tell us what you've been doing lately, Pam.
Oh, lot going on. Well, nothing's going on right now because we're in the middle of a pandemic. But, just grateful to God that everybody's safe and healthy. And so it's so good to see you all and see everyone's faces and that everyone's healthy, and just prayerful that everyone's families continue to be blessed and safe and healthy. But like Goody mentioned, I've been teaching at Columbia for the last few years. I teach in the graduate sports management program. I teach leadership development and personnel management. And I also do leadership development and personnel consulting as well. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of years, and raising my daughter, who, last time most of you saw me, I was either pregnant or she was just a baby. Now she's 13 and a big girl and going off to 8th grade. So I actually sent Goody a picture of her, a picture Adrian actually holding her when she's like 6 months old at a WNBA at an All-Star. And then I sent her a picture. She was going to a bar mitzvah a few months ago. So it's a big difference, right, Goody?
Oh, my God, blew my mind, and it's funny because I text you back and I said, oh, my God, I remember her goobering on me and slobbering on me. And then sends me a picture. Back in the day, All-Star weekend, that was probably one of the best All-Star weekends ever.
It was. It was in D.C.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
In D.C., yeah, that was a good one.
That's it. I crashed on the floor, on the floor in your hotel room.
Yes, my mother was talking about that yesterday. She was like, "Oh Lord, that girl was laying on the floor."
Yes. Great times. So I'm so glad that you're here on the show. Give us some enlightenment around some things that we have been discussing. Also got heavy hitter Val Whiting. I had the opportunity to play with her. This is Stanford University, NCAA champion. Had the opportunity to play with her in Brazil. Okay. We were in Brazil together. Val was actually responsible for putting the paper in my hand, putting the application in my hand for the American Basketball League, the ABL. And I had heard a lot about it. I had talked to Christy Hedgepeth. I had talked to AZ about it. And Val was the one who actually physically put the app in my hand. And I put it in my drawer. We went off in Brazil and won everything up there. And then we left. And that's when I started playing in the ABL. So I want to thank you live for that. So introduce yourself and tell everybody what you're doing right now, Val.
Let's see. It's been a while since I've seen you, Pam. My goodness, that brings back memories. 20 years I think has passed almost 20 years. I got 2 boys. One's going to college on Friday back east. I got another 15-year-old, a freshman. He's 6'6". It's been this pandemic has been crazy. It's made me rethink about myself and where I'm going. And I've been doing a lot of stuff on social media. I've been on TikTok, just empowering the female athlete and trying to build up our young girls because there's so much hate out there, believe it or not, from little boys, and it's surprising. So that's what I've been doing. Also have an after-school program which teaches kids basketball, but also teaches them life skills and leadership. And I have moved that to Zoom, so that's been an adjustment, but it's also fun. But mainly, just spending time with my family and reconnecting with people like you guys, and I don't know, just changing my whole mindset about what the world's going to be like now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. I know a whole lot of people have been doing the same thing. I mean, as you see, this podcast originated from COVID. So I just want to say thank you, goddammit. Thank you, COVID. Thank you. Bigger, better, stronger, brighter, wiser, smarter, whatever you want to call it. I want to come out of this thing in all of those categories. Like if we gotta do the time, ladies, we may as well do the damn thing. So, piggybacking off of previous conversations, like my homegirl always says, the NBA and the WNBA have decided on their seasons, and the girls started 2 weeks ago in Bradenton, and the players are front and center with "Say Her Name." But how much of a voice do we have as women today? I want to elaborate on that. And meanwhile, the Sky, the Mystics, the Storm, and the Lynx vie for the top spots. However, the young teams like the Fever, the Dream, the Aces, and Mercury heat up the stage, Penny. And on a wider scope, the NBA owners contribute $300 million towards economic empowerment in the Black community. My question is, why don't the NBA contribute dollars to the WNBA? Did we get a little piece of that $300 million there? But ladies, I want to elaborate on these topics. So, let's start out with the season. And Penny, I don't want to hear it. I'm a Zelia. I'm a Zelia.
So I heard there was a side bet that I'm not aware of. What happened? What I missed?
I'm
Really
gonna
no
keep
show
on
me
bringing
that Big Ten.
and to come see me if you want to. Stop shooting them bombs, man. But,
Oh, she balled out the other day though. She balled
Yeah.
out.
who's the hot ticket? All I'm gonna say is, Seattle. I know that's your team. I'm even willing to say their name. I'm gonna say her name. Seattle. They've been
They look
having a
good.
problem holding on to a lead, Gama. What's going on with that?
It doesn't. Well, like I told you last week, all you got to win is by 1 point, okay? And, it's still early. Even with a lot of other teams, it doesn't matter if you hold them to lead. The bottom line is they were ahead when the clock said 0-0-0-0. And I think they're, 5-1? They're 5-1. Obviously, I'm impressed with Cheryl Reeves, I'm saying. what she's doing with Minnesota. Like I said last week, I'm impressed with Mike Tebow, even though they had a hiccup the other day with New York getting their first win against Washington. But it's gonna be a great league this year. You know, it's competitive and it's gonna be short and sweet. I know for the people in the bubble, it probably seem a little long, but on the outside, it's been actually fun to watch games all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to wait till the weekend or you don't have to wait till Friday. Literally, you know, it's a game coming on every day, which
Yeah.
I think is great. And like I say, minus all the people that, you know, are dying from COVID, but as far as the WNBA, it's getting a lot of publicity and new fans. So that's a positive that is coming out of this. But like I say, Seattle's really, really good. You know, I love Chicago team because I love those young legs. And then, you know, I'm still never going to bet against the purple and gold. So, you know, may the best team win.
Yeah, you know, LA, you know. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to the head coach over there today. It's his birthday.
Fish.
They got to get a birthday win. They got to get a birthday win.
Yeah, they got Minnesota.
Vegas, your girl today. Oh yeah, Minnesota.
They got Minnesota today. Minnesota
yes,
today.
See, Pam, you've been removed from the scene for a little bit. How do you see the growth? How do you look at it talk to us from your eyes?
I'm just happy about it. I'm like Penny. You know, I think it's you know, for years that's, you know, I had those meetings with the league every year going, okay, so, you know, every year we were hoping that this is the year, you know, and whether it was a particular player coming out of college and that was going to be the thing that was going to turn it around or something. So, you know, for 15 years while I was there, that was a conversation. It was like, so how do we get this thing to the next level, right? Because that's where we always knew, and I'm hoping I see it in my lifetime, that the WNBA is going to be wildly successful one day. So I'm just hoping that I can, you know, see it. But, you know, I think it's great. I'm like you, Penny. I think there's so many advantages to it. Now people, you know, one of the things that I'm sure you guys heard all the time was people didn't even know which channel the games came on, right? So they didn't even know where to find a game, right? So now you know, you just turn to ESPN, okay, and there's a WNBA game on, and so, you know, there's a home for it now, right? It's also playing in season where it should be. You know, there were no changes to having to change the game around to accommodate COVID, right? So there's none of that going on. It's almost a game in its purest form. People are watching it. You know, it's interesting to me because I mentioned my daughter. My daughter has no concept of the WNBA not existing, right? So for her, she's like, this is the way the world is supposed to be. Those of us on the phone, however, I mean, on this thing right now, know that that's not how it was always, you know. So she doesn't have any concept of, you know, where you guys started from and where it is now. She just thinks it's great, it's wonderful. WNBA is here. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I think, of course, the play is amazing. Players keep getting better and better and better. When you guys started, you were amazing, and to think that the players are even getting better than that is great. So I'm happy about it. You know, I continue to be a huge WNBA fan. Continue to root for it. Continue to, you know, hope that it gets to that place where, you know, we can sign that first $1 million player in the United States.
And it sounds so sweet, don't it? Everybody smiled on that. You agree? You know, and Val, you know, being removed from the game, and you know talk to us from your eyes.
I'm just kind of jealous because they got illegal defense now. Like when I play, like we get the ball in the post, like everybody's there. You know, that's what I'm like. What? That's what I think every time I watch a game. I'm like, look how wide open that paint is.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? Even for me, I gotta get to the cup. I'm God. Like, with illegal defense, it would be illegal for me
now.
Goodness.
Oh my God!
And it would have been for you. It would have been.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. And you know what? You opened my eyes to that because Real talk. Wow, that would have been a problem. Red rum.
For sure.
I see that red
Straight
rum.
red rum. Okay, get in the pocket. And Meek, we get your take on it, and every Sunday, and Tara has now become a basketball fan. She's actually tuning in and watching games, and texting. Well, what? It's always great to see. It's great to see. We can transform people in an instant. And so, just to prompt you in, Pam, while we got you speaking, being a part of the 2002 collective bargaining agreement with you, I can say arguably, you're probably one of the most brilliant, intelligent women I've ever been around in my life.
Thank you.
Just the way that you carried yourself and you handled yourself during those times with David Stern, and sitting across the table, and I was talking to the girls about the cold pizza, and the
2 o'clock in the morning.
The Chinese restaurant out of the box, just sitting around, huddled around in a circle, trying to hammer things out for the group licensing, trying to hammer things out for the vets, trying to hammer things out for the this and the that. There was so many issues. Have we made progress on the topics we were concerned with back in the CBA during the 2002 collective bargaining agreement?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've actually used that group, and I don't want to disparage anybody because I negotiated 4 collective bargaining agreements for you guys. So I don't want to talk about any one particular negotiating group, but for me, that 2002 agreement really set the stage for the system for the WNBA player going for the next 100 years, I think. And I think that it was intentional, right? Because the first agreement, you guys had decided, listen, we have absolutely basically nothing here, right? We got nothing. I remember Tamika was one of the people that was out there, signing, getting cards signed and all of that stuff. And, it was a realization at that time. You're like, listen, at that time, when you guys unionized, you had no minimum salaries. There were some people making like $5,000, right? There were no minimum salaries. There were no contract guarantees. There was no medical benefits. There were no maternity benefits. There was no retirement plan, no group licensing. Remember, there were a few people that were signed in marketing agreements, but everyone else was out. There was no post-retirement plan. There was no revenue sharing. So that first agreement, what we were trying to do is to make some advances, right? And to sort of get that deal done and get the organization set up. But it was really in that second agreement where I think we said, listen, and to you all's credit, and I use this example all the time. I was like, to you all's credit, I remember sitting around the room. It was you, Cheryl, Tina, Katie Smith, because Katie, you needed a rookie, and we brought Katie in on that, and Sonia Henry was the president at the time. And I remember you guys sitting in the room going, listen, Pam, we know we're not getting rich off of this, okay? But let's get a system in place so that when this thing becomes successful, the players can just continue to build on it. And that agreement is the one where you guys got free agency. And that changed the entire landscape of the WNBA. Because for those people who don't remember, when the WNBA started, it started out as a single entity, right? So the team, you all signed to the league office, and then you were assigned to the different teams. So you were negotiating with the WNBA and the NBA General Counsel. So you can imagine how well that went over. So getting free agency for that second agreement was, that was just paramount. That laid the entire framework. And then, we sat in that room going, okay, we're going to put something in place for revenue sharing because, you had to get that done. And the example I use now is I tell people, imagine if the NBA didn't have revenue sharing in their collective bargaining agreement and Balmer buys the Clippers for $2 billion. You think they're going to ever put revenue sharing and a deal after that. So the fact that we were able to get some form of revenue sharing, we knew those early years that, the benchmarks might have been a little high, but we were just trying to get that system in place. And to you all's credit, I mean, you guys did an amazing job. We went down to the wire. It was about to be, yeah, I think we negotiated and got that deal done about 2 hours before the draft was supposed to happen on ESPN. And y'all were like, we're not having it. We're not doing it. And I also, to WNBA players' credit, and people don't give you guys enough credit for this. I remember Cheryl and Tina were on that committee, right? And the league kept throwing out these, when we negotiated for that free agency, the league's trade-off was that we had to have a hard cap. So they were like, okay, we'll give you free agency, but y'all got to agree to a hard cap. So we were like, okay, we'll agree to a hard cap, and then next time we'll poke some holes in it like we were able to do. But the league was throwing out crazy numbers, like, the maximum salary could be like $250,000 or something. And even Cheryl, and who would have been the people who would have gotten that salary, right? It would have been Tina and Cheryl at that time. But they were like, okay, that's ridiculous. If we take up $250 of this cap, we're not going to be able to pay anyone else. So to you all's credit, you all, the foresight that you had at that time was, we're going to get this league going. And your directive to me was, Pam, get this league going and get a system in place, because ain't none of us in here going to get rich doing this. We know that. Y'all like, we know y'all wasn't going to be the ones benefit from it. But look what happened now. So now look what happened. So we were able to negotiate for those maternity benefits at 50%. And then this time they negotiated and got 100% maternity benefits, right? So, we're moving off that core player a little bit. And so everything, to me, is just a progression. So I think the groundwork that you all laid and those first, especially that second one, is really where I think the success came for this agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. And because we had a conversation yesterday in depth, in regards to those things. And, they were talking about the maternity, and like, we got maternity when we always had maternity. It's just that it was operating at what, 50%, right?
It's 50%, yeah.
50%. You got 50% of your salary. Now it's 100% of your salary. So it wasn't worth talking about it. So then it became that situation where it was like, oh, we got maternity now, but it was always there. It was just so little. But definitely milestones have been crossed in regards to that. Does anybody want to interject on that? Virginia, you look like you want to say something.
No, I'm listening. I'm actually happy that Pam's on here, because, I think that you being here, Pam, I just want to say this to you. You being here, it's like, for anybody that just signed on here, it's like what you said. We went from nothing to an agreement, and it's been building and building and building. And the point with you being here, that I'm happy that you're here, it shows it takes a village to create a masterpiece. And what people usually see are just the players. And that's why I always tell everybody, there's a whole village behind those players that you see out there, whether in the office or creating this league, And this is another example of when I say what we were talking about last week, knowing the history, knowing the people that have been immense in this league and pushing this league forward. Because I do believe, at least I like to believe, that just like you, Pam, I'm going to be here when there is $1 million contract. But you've done a lot for the league. And this is what people just see what's happening now and be like, rah, rah. But like you said, if you didn't get that 50, you can never get that 100. Because if that wasn't negotiated at 50, they would have just been getting 50 right now. So it just goes to show you, like I said, progress is being made. It's just a matter of trusting the process. But you had a big hand in pushing the league forward. And we all know, just like the players who negotiated this salary, this CBA, they'll benefit a little bit, but it's not for them. It's going to be for the players that's coming behind them. So everybody has to do their part. And this is the thing that I hope the players understand, that when they're negotiating, it's for the, how you say, the greater good. It's for everybody, not just what I'm going to take away from the table. So I'm just happy you're here. people are getting to see you and understand that, hey, you were the first president, of the league. And like I say, without that, you don't have this. And, and I just want to say, thank you for all your hard work. That's basically why I'm just sitting here listening.
Oh,
so it's been an amazing journey.
I second that.
Third that.
And the other thing I tell people, I was like, you got to even remember when the WNBA first started, most of the players knew that they wasn't even going to be able to play that much longer, right? I mean, there were a group
Bingo.
of people, like
that's me overseas 10 years already,
Exactly. So you were really, you were on like the last couple of years. I remember Lynette Wood had paid for a year.
Nancy Lieberman, Lynette.
Yeah.
Cheryl didn't even get a chance to play. Janice Lawrence, that people don't understand when they look at the stuff that Candace and Lisa Leslie did. There was Janice Lawrence before. Lisa Ingram, who never played in the league. I could go down the line on some great post players that were ahead of their times, including Cindy Brown, who I played with.
I was just going to say Cindy. I was just going to say Cindy.
Get a chance to play in the league. And this is what I say, knowing the history. These were extraordinary players that, that paved the way for what they're seeing now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to throw Medina Dixon in the pot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Man, we can have.
She missed it.
We can have a master class right now.
Oh, for real.
Okay, so,
for real.
So that was great for you to bring that up. I mean, just so important. And
Hey,
Gerald,
I want to say one more thing. I just want to say one more thing before we leave. And I think this is important. And Pam, this will probably be what your history could, for me anyway, will be made on. The players went from having nothing to something.
Yeah.
No, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because think about it. It wasn't even a union when the league first started for all of us who played. It wasn't even a union. And that's why I say, so you can say that Pepper was dropped and now look at the ripple effect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at when just that little pebble being dropped. Look at the ripple effect of everything now. And look at all the people that have been benefiting just from that ripple effect. And that's why I say they have to go and know the history of this league.
And in a real short time, too. You know what I mean? We're not talking about, like I said, my daughter has no idea that there wasn't a WNBA. But, we're talking about 20-something years. We're not talking about 50 years, 60 years, that the longevity of NBA. It's relatively a nascent league. To be where the players are right now, is pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable for a short period of time.
Absolutely.
And that's what the fans, and I won't say the fans of WNBA, but that's what all the naysayers don't even understand. That this league, the men wasn't even here at 20 years. And I keep saying that people are so focused on, they're only making 200, it's 250,000 now. Last year the max was 219, unless you had one of the marketing agreements. But what they don't understand is the WNBA done gave careers. Look at Dawn, look at Becky. Like I said, look at Shanae Ogumake on ESPN. You would not have seen these careers without the WNBA.
Yep.
And not to mention all the other WNBA players. It's kind of hard to walk in any business that don't have a WNBA player. Now think about it. When we first came in, if we played overseas, we weren't getting no coaching job. But because we went into the WNBA, the first person they're looking at now, where's the former WNBA player for recruiting? For this, we're going to be first to get the jobs. Went from obscurity to that visibility is allowing us to have bigger careers and make even more money than what the WNBA could ever pay us. And that's what you hope for. The WNBA has done its job and still doing its job by providing opportunities for women on and off the floor. And that's the thing that people are missing. That it's a lot of people still making a lot of money just from this game, the WNBA. It may not be the ones on TV, but I'm talking about their lives. You can look anywhere and there's a WNBA player. Every college man's got a WNBA player. And I can honestly tell you that half these people wouldn't have got these jobs without the WNBA and the visibility that it brought to their brand. It wouldn't have happened.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we had a lot of people last week asking a lot of questions, and a couple of WNBA players that's out there. Shout out to Adrian Strong sitting out there. watching, and Cheryl was on last week, and was going back and forth with her this week. And she is currently, Pam, on the board for the Retired Players Association. She just got nominated for that, and you know, her biggest dilemma right now, what she's fighting for the former players and our issues right now with health insurance and also having a pension. She's trying to get those things in place. I wanted to ask you, while I have you here, how can we come together as a group to work on these issues with the players, the current Players Association? I don't know how affiliated you are with them, and having a sit down with them, and also the Retired Players Association has to be involved. And I'm even going to throw Michelle Roberts in there because she oversees everything.
Yeah, I think that the thing is that much the same way that you guys realized early on that you needed a union, you you can just follow that same path. And again, a lot of it has to do with the longevity of the league and how the growth, the age of the league. Because really, you don't even really have any players at this point who are in their 60s, right? So the
No.
concept of any form, so the concept of even thinking about what retired players, what that means, is relatively new. So it's you kind of have to, I think, maybe hash those things out first. Like, what are the needs? Because you don't even have anyone at 60, unlike the NBA players. You got players who, who passed on, NFL
Yeah,
players who are well in their 80s
absolutely.
or earlier. So I think what
Yeah.
we probably have to do is much the same way that you sat down and said, well, okay, listen, we're a league now and we need this, and this. Now we're moving into a phase where we're starting to have older players who are retired. What does that mean? And I think the fact that Cheryl's on the board is a good place to start because again, part of what was the beauty of you all selecting the NBA Players Association as your union is that you didn't have to start from the beginning, right? So even though I was hired to sort of handle and run the WNBPA, I still had the staff of the NBPA folks there, with all of their resources and all that. So the fact that Cheryl is on that board, you're not starting from scratch. You can pick up on things that are going on with the Retired Players Association already. But I think that whole concept is still even new for you guys. Is there anybody in their 60s yet? Maybe one or two people, so that whole,
Who?
that's what I'm saying, maybe,
Lynette probably, Nancy
maybe,
Lieberman.
maybe
Lynette
But
might
Lynette.
be.
these are
Yeah. You think Lynette is in
that's
the 60s?
I don't
Lynette
know. She
might
don't
be.
look it. I want to say
I
that
don't know. She
Lynette, you
definitely
don't
don't
look
look
it.
it.
So
She's fooling the heck out of all
Lynette,
of
you
us.
don't look 60. But
She
I'm
might
just
be
saying.
tapping on that door though.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
that's right.
so
Nancy
there you
Lieberman.
go. We got
All
people
Nancy
rap tap
Lieberman.
tapping. Nancy Lieberman tapping,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
tap
But you
dancing.
see what I'm saying? That the whole concept is just, thinking about that. It's something you're thinking about now. 20 years ago, nobody really thought about that. So I think the fact that Cheryl's on that board, Terry Jackson is amazing at the WNBPA. So I think it's just a matter of sitting down and doing what you did before, which was, okay, this is what now that people are moving into this phase, how do we help prepare them? How do we help prepare? Because I think those conversations are much more applicable now than they probably were, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
And just
absolutely.
to
And
piggyback on that too, like what you're saying, Pam, I totally 100% agree with you. Even right down to now, like when COVID first started, where I say you have enough players out there where, like what Adrian and everybody on this board been saying, where they need a veteran board, because now you have a lot of people that have been in the real world. When I say in the real world, like Val, such as Val, Meek, and having their own businesses and stuff, that you have to have a board because these are the resources now that we need to have our own. And what I say is, a lot of people, and, like I said, I'm not trying to offend anyone out there. They always go, well, why can't the NBA help us? It's time for us to help ourselves too. That's great if we get those resources. But I'm from the era of, how when your mom said, if you live in my house, you're going to do as I say. You know what I'm saying? Where now with COVID, it's showing you that we need resources of our own. And that's coming from former players that do have businesses and have the skill set and the knowledge to go out and get sponsorships to sponsor some of these programs for the retired players or whatever comes up. Just like COVID now, what Kyrie did was awesome, but there still should have been we should have our own reserve in case someone can't play for whatever reason. We should be able to help our own, or we need to start thinking about that because
Absolutely.
COVID showed you that we have to help ourselves sometimes too. We can't keep saying, "Oh, help us, help us, help us." This is what we as women are trying to get away from. That no, we don't want to get your crumbs. You know what I'm saying? And I believe us as females and as women, we're capable of creating our own. We're very disciplined, we're very strong-minded, and we're very strong-willed. And this is where, for me, sometimes it's the catch-22 because I'd be like, we're not thinking right. Let's go create this. Let's go do this so that we don't have to keep begging, give us this, or people looking at the WNBA, or we charity. Let's throw them this bone. No, we're bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? And we have, this is where I want us to go next, from all of this.
Absolutely. And, for the 15 episodes that we've been on, we've listened to Tara Lynn Towns talk about how important it is for us to have a POA, a plan of action, in regards to whatever it is that we're going to approach or whatever it is that you're going to approach out there in life during these times right now. So, that's just coming back to that now more than ever. You want to elaborate on that a little bit, Tara?
Hi, Pam and Val. It's nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Well, I think that I first want to say that I'm excited just to hear about, I didn't know about where it was to where it is now. So yay, I'm learning something. But I want to say that micro steps definitely open us up from mega goals. So we must really focus on the little steps because those little steps, believe me, people are watching too when you take them. So you keep on taking them, they're going to watch. Like Penny, you were just saying, to start doing things yourselves. It will. It doesn't seem like it in the beginning, but when you focus on the steps that it takes and you kind of, numb yourself to naysayers or people who don't believe in your goal, you will continue definitely moving towards that. And then guess what happens when they see it, even step by step, they now say, okay, we will do this. We can do this. I'll help you, because you are telling them really with your actions that, you do need their help, but you're not going to stop because you're not getting it. So I think that's really important. But having a POA, a plan of action, when you're presenting to any organization, any business, even in your own life with things that you want to overcome, obstacles and breakdowns that you have, you must have a POA. That POA is really your contract with yourself before you present to other people. So like Pamela was saying, having things organized and set in different times, now it applies, right? You're going to talk about retirement now because people are approaching their retirement, so it's appropriate. The timing is everything. The presentation is beyond everything. And even too, I want to say this with POAs, even when I form them for clients, I do my research and I have scientific studies behind it, backing it. Because you can say, oh, we need this, we need this, we need this, but how about we present, hey, at 65, Social Security is not really so great to help people, have longevity, or at 65, your bones start hurting when you're an athlete, or even before that, or you have surgeries, you have different things, or mental things, like in my lane, begin to really pop up because you may be empty nesters, or things change, you have divorces, and now you're just like, okay, I'm not an athlete for a long time. I have this. I don't have medical insurance. I don't know these feelings that I'm processing. So I just think it's so important to have that data set when you're presenting so that it is a part of your POA and that you're more convincing to people who you're trying to approach to help you. And with that being said, too, about the support, so I know I read that, Adrian, a little bit earlier. It's a scientific fact that people who are supported socially or even by their families, they progress versus people who don't. When you feel like you're alone in something, you kind of tend to, because you have so much time you tend to lean to the negative side of things, right? If you're by yourself, oh, I'm so lonely, oh, the kids don't call me, oh, but instead of saying, okay, well, I have all this time on my hands. What can I do for me? Going back to what Penny just said. What can I do for me? What can I do to connect to sisters that I played with? I mean, that's a big thing, in my opinion, to have just a whole connection committee and a liaison that supports that. Once again, little micro chapters in each state to keep you guys connected, even if it's just a phone call, even if you're just doing this, even if you send each other pictures, like Pam said earlier, that so much time has gone by. Adrian held her baby. Now she could see her going to a bar mitzvah. I mean, it's just those things kind of warm your heart and keep you connected. You miss each other. You played with each other. You have love for the game, love for each other. But it's just that doing that. Those are things that don't take sponsorship. Those are things that just begin with us, just us having the want and the urge to stay connected. And once you're connected all over the place, there's power in numbers. People will then start paying attention to your message. One person doing it here and there and it's not consistent, not going to get really much movement. It's going to be harder. But if you set yourself up for success with the power in the numbers and really implementing your own selves into what you want and what you're presenting to get people to bite on it, it's more powerful. And we are. When people say, how much power do women really have? How much of a voice do we really have? We have as much of a voice as we speak. So if we keep on speaking about it, no matter what the gender is, you're going to have people say, oh, God, let me just help just because I wanted to shut up. Or you're going to have people say, oh, wow, I'm taking another look at this. Do you know what I mean? Just like me. It's not that I was anti-WNBA. My daughter played basketball, still does, excuse me, let me not get in trouble later, college ball. And I went to her games when she was 5, but I really never went to NBA games, but really never went to, I went to a few WNBA games. But now I'm, you guys are like my friends and family now, so now I'm taking a deeper look at it, and that's my point. I've been on here for 15 weeks, so I'm like, whoa, let me take a deeper look, and I like it. It's so exciting. It is exciting and fun to watch. So that's my point. Keep on doing it, keep on saying it, keep on moving, and people will say, let me see about this, retirement, or let me see about paying them more because they're worth it. But also very, very educated and smart women. I mean, you guys go to college, you take something in college, right? I mean, you're educated women. So I just feel, once again, the micro steps open us up for the mega goals. And it's definitely important to have an array of support, and I mean emotional support, because we always talk about this, right, ladies? Like, we always focus on the physical part in sports, but the physical part cannot perform if that mind, which is also, the brain is a muscle, it needs to be exercised. If it's not exercised, if it's not supported, that brain needs emotional support. These women need emotional support. I'm going to play for you for $200,000, $250,000, if I'm going to play because I love the game, but don't you think I would play a little bit more and a little bit harder, and if it was a little bit more, or if you checked in with me and said, hey, great job. I mean, there could be that committee too, an inspiration committee that totally texts new players and retired players, connects you guys, once again, to mentor and pick a new player with a retired player. I mean, there's so many ways that you guys can just, inspire each other and grow off of each other, from the past with the knowledge, and then the future who needs the knowledge. Like, I love that Pam's daughter doesn't know anything but that, because that has been her microsystem and what she has been exposed to since birth. Do you know what I mean? So she doesn't know the difference. That's what we could do with racism too, right? We can expose children to not being racist, and then guess what we'll have? Not racism in the United States. So it's just what you put into something, and it definitely begins at home. Growth begins at, I don't care how many, gurus you have, how many this, how many workshops, but if you don't agree first to receive that and to be accountable and responsible for your actions and your own goal, I don't care who you go to, the top coach in the country, it's not going to happen. Or if it does, you will take a longer road, let's just say, to get to your goal than you can already be there just having that knowledge and that information.
Absolutely.
All in one breath. Now I'm going to take my drink.
But no, I was going to say that's why it goes back to what, Adrian, you've been trying to fight for forever as far as committee, because just like I said earlier, it takes a village to move something forward. And as amazing as Terry is, she's still one person, where when you have a committee, you can assign different tasks and different objectives to different people so that they can, one part, like say those vets can function on, let's go out and see what resources we need to get the revenue for retirement, while, the hub can function on something else. And that's why you need more people that are invested. You need more, how you say, okay, you have the Players Association, but now we need some micro groups. You need some micro groups that function up under that group that's fighting for, some other agendas that are important for this league. And those resources, when you have those micro groups, those are the resources that you send out to get those other tasks done. Because I'm going to tell you right now, with the group they have, and it's a great group, but there's still a lot to be done. And I think you always want to add, if it's positive, you always want to continue to add on to cover more territory, because it's a lot to ask when you just got one group focusing on one thing. And it's going to take a lot longer if this is the only thing I can focus on right now versus having micro groups that can function at the same time and report back to one hub.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great interjection right there. We got some people that are, chiming in, so I want to pay attention to them. Shout out to everybody that's out there that's watching, and shout out to everybody out there that's just posing some powerful questions. We got Adrian Williams on here, strong, former WNBA player, and she says, in the NBRPA, the few WNBA players are leading the way. I am the treasurer of the Phoenix chapter, and they look to my feedback every single time. I call the meetings. We have had one event that I recommend. So yes, we have so much knowledge, so much wisdom and respect. We can do this. And so that's basically backing up what you said, Gama, Virginia. What you said. We are intelligent, we are wise, we are strong, we can do this. And, we definitely, I'm going to keep on being an advocate for this, that we definitely need an advisory committee. We need a board in which we can get out here and really build this league in a positive way. And so much love and respect to Adrian for doing that. Much love and respect for Cheryl for what she might be enduring at this time. But I just would love to see, Terry and Scott Rochelle and us come around at a round table, sit down and talk about some things and hammer out some stuff. And, Val, you sitting there kind of quiet. I'm going to pull you in this conversation.
I like to listen. I'm an introvert. I'm good.
I know you are. I know you are. I dealt with this with you in Brazil. I'd be like, Val.
I can't see the two of y'all hanging out. Oh my goodness.
Val was the quiet one. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, Val, we over here. Here's Val. So, you see the dude in the back with the pop shot. Everybody's bam, bam, bam. Val's like this. Pap. Pap. She the one shooter. But, come on, Val. I know you got a lot inside of you want to talk about.
I got questions. I don't know how revenue share works. It's someone help me understand that. I want to know that, and how is it at 50% or is it still 22%?
No, the revenue sharing was always based on ticket sales, and I think they introduced another category, but there's a benchmark by which the league has to even reach before the revenue sharing would even kick in.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So what I don't know what that number. I don't know what that new number is, but there's a certain number of when overall ticket sales reaches that amount, then the revenue sharing split starts kicking in. And I'm not sure what the new. I don't know what the new number is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the, I remember that being on the table. They were like, oh yeah, we'll revenue share, but you gotta sell a certain amount of tickets, and it'd be like, whoa, okay, so we really gotta get out there and really pound it. We gotta pound the pavement. Each team needs to sell tickets, and then that's how we get the revenue sharing. I love to see how this hoodie thing is working out. Um, but also another thing that we fought about, Pam, was the group licensing, and we were adamant, okay, about taking that from them and putting it in our laps. We have that in our laps. What is it that we have to do to enforce that? What is it that we have to do to get that up off the ground so that we could start really, everybody is sharing in the wealth? You said that there's a certain cost to that. What is that?
Well, so just a little bit of history there. So obviously, when you guys first started playing, the league controlled the group license. So group license basically is when there are three or more players in any marketing endeavor. So individually, if you wanted to just do your own deals, that's separate. But so the league controlled that. So it wasn't until the second or third agreement when we were like, okay, well, we need to control our own indicia. They control their own indicia, which is, the team and league logos, and the players need to control their own indicia, their likenesses and names, etc. So initially it's a tough market too, right? So one of the first things I always ask people when I, speak places, and I say, well, what do you think about the WNBA? And everybody's like, oh, I love the WNBA. I think it represents, it has this entire social value, right? And it represents women's empowerment. It's a way for dads to connect with their daughters. It's, a social value. So then my next question is, well, how many people in this room have bought a ticket? And then nobody's bought a ticket, right? They think it's amazing. So somehow you got to get people to move that emotional connection to an economic connection, right? And that's where all of this thing comes in. So the group license for the WNBPA is no different than the NBPA, Major League Baseball. The concept there is that the high tide raises all boats, right? So there are going to be some people whose jerseys are going to sell more than others, but every WNBA players, and you guys voted on this initially, when you unionized, that the group license money would be distributed evenly amongst all the players. So the more people that can raise, the more money that can be raised. One of the problems, though, it's like, say, for example, when I think WNBA players were introduced to the EA Sports game, and
Yeah.
I don't remember what year that was, but we can only get 6 players in, right? Because EA Sports was saying it cost them too much money to put in, basically in like that template, more players. So even though there were 6 players in there, all players were able to at least reap the benefits from it, because at least those 6 players. But the problem is, like you said, there's a cost to it, and the cost, we got to get people to recognize that cost is worth taking or worth making. But some sponsors, some licensors will be like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. I think it's great, and I don't want to put out the money. So we got to get people to recognize that it's worth putting out the money. And the other big deal was when the WNBA got a TV rights deal. I mean, we all know in sports, that's where the money is. It's a TV rights deal. So that changed the landscape in and of itself. And I think right now the group license is doing really well, because I think that they partnered with what's it called? I think I want to say One Teams, One Sport, or something like that is the name of the organization. So I think it's Major League Baseball Players Association, MLB, PA, licensing arm, and WNBPA arm licensing, and I think U.S. Women's Soccer. So they've come together and to market them individually and as a group. I can't think of the name of the organization, and it's basically almost like a venture capital project. that
Right.
they've done. So they've made those steps to actually try to increase the group license. But it's all about people, people need to
Buying
go out there and
tickets.
spend their money. They want to see this thing work. This is how this thing is going to work. Okay,
Yeah.
this is not an altruistic endeavor. This is a business.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the WNBA players do well and get paid and all that, then go out and buy tickets. And don't sit home saying, "Oh, it's great. I think I love it. It's fabulous." Oh, I ain't want no ticket. And
Right.
how this thing going supposed to work? You
Right.
would never suggest that with Major League Baseball, right? You would never suggest that the Major League Baseball players should just play for the love of the game, right? You think they should get paid something.
Yeah.
Everybody just play for the love of the game. Well, let's not suggest that women should.
And they don't even have a salary cap.
They
You
don't.
know,
They don't have a
baseball,
salary cap. They can make
Yeah.
anything.
they don't even have a salary cap. Look at the millions they're
Crazy.
making. That's what a lot of people don't know. And
Crazy.
that's where it goes to, like when what you say, Pam, and I always say, once you come to a game, you're going to be a fan. The
Right.
other thing I would like to say, and I challenge, it was a time, look at what we're talking about now. Then there was a time that we wanted women executives in high power places, right? Now, okay, they need to be more of us, but there are enough of us that I say that now you need to invest those dollars back in women's sports. Because like I said a couple of calls ago, where I could ask a guy, and I challenge any woman out there, they may know all the players in the league, but when I ask a female player, she doesn't know. But I'm saying to these women executives, just because you're in the boardroom, you don't have to be one of the guys and say, well, I don't want to be different. Let me just vote to put all the money in men's sports. Because the reality of it is a quarter of whatever the Lakers get. Forget the quarter. Let's say a nickel. Do you know how much you can get in the WNBA for that money? But they rather spend, let's say, the whole quarter over there and get this much versus invest that quarter in the WNBA and see how much your market will grow. You know what I'm saying? Because we were one of the first teams to have a jersey sponsor when we had Farmers. And they loved us. They loved the visibility. We were champions at the time. And everywhere that the Sparks went, there was that jersey. Farmers. They got they made a lot of money from us. And we're saying we're marketable, we're profitable, and we bring dividends. But I want all those women executives to be different and don't go along with the boys in the boardroom and say, hey, you know what? It's time to invest some money back into women and women's sports. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, this it will continue to grow. It will continue to grow. And I find a lot of jobs still, just to sum it up, they would give $1 and get nothing versus, okay, give us that $1 and get the world. We're profitable. We bring dividends. People don't get it. We can generate revenues for your company. We can bring visibility to your company because women, we're multifaceted. We have a lot of aspects of us.
I'd like to see some more women buy teams. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see more women actually purchase teams.
And that's why I was so happy when Washington won. Not only was she a woman, she was a black woman, Sheila Johnson. Even though it's Ted Leon is with her, but still she was visible. And I can honestly tell you, being a GM for Paula Madison, oh my God, I was praying that we could win a championship for her to be, one of the first Afro-Americans to win a championship. And I'm not even bragging about myself. Even in LA, I'm sure I'm one of maybe 0 general managers that ever played in sports. I'm talking men and women to have the multiple titles that I have. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it kills me how, and I'm just going to throw it out there, how these things could be overlooked with so much hard work that we have done. Even being, not shifting the grid, but you're saying Black Lives Matter. Let's just put it out there that some of the things that that we've done. And that's why when Sheila won, I was like, I was rooting for Washington. If LA can't win it, I'm from DC. I knew Sheila would be very visible. She's been a supporter of this league. She's been in the league. She's been working hard. But I can honestly tell you, when Paula Madison took over the Sparks, that added another level to my, my ambition to try to get that title for her. Because, when you look back in history and people don't appreciate it now, but when they look back, it's monumental. You know what I'm saying? And Paula was a sole owner. She didn't have a partner. The Women's Group Holding, they owned the whole team themselves. didn't have a partner. And these are the things that need to be focused on. And like I said, not to my own horn, but what other black GM has as many titles, if one title, that I have? None. I don't think in men's sports or women's sports.
I was going to say in any sport.
Right.
I don't think so.
You know, and those are the things. And if it wasn't me, I would say it's interesting. Trust me, there's another topic I could bring up, but I ain't gonna bring it up on here. I'm gonna keep it positive because it's like it's incredible the stuff that you know, it's unfortunate that it always takes a crisis to put a spotlight on something. You know, it always, and I know that's how we grow, but sometimes it doesn't have to take a crisis. You know, if the obvious is there, let's just call it out and let's move on and be great and be better, you know. I know I kind of went off the topic a little bit, but, I was happy when Washington won.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely was a city that needed um, something positive to happen anyway. I've always been a fan of DC. Even when I was at Old Dominion University, I always found myself in DC somehow.
Why am I not surprised about that?
Good city, shout out to everybody that's on here, doing numbers for real. I was looking down at the people that are participating, and a Mike Lowry popped up. I thought that I was in a Lawrence, Martin Lawrence movie. Mike Lowry,
bad boy.
Hey, Mike.
So, I can't say how happy I am, to have had you on the show, Pam, because you really answered a lot of questions and you shed a lot of light on some different things that we couldn't answer. And the CBA is probably the toughest, most tedious piece of paperwork over there in the NBA, in the WNBA, in the Major League Baseball, in NFL, and you know it like the back of your hand. There's 360 pages of information about how the WNBA governs itself, how it pays itself, and how it functions. So anybody out there, you're interested, you can go and you can download that. Where can they download that at, Pam?
I know it's on the Players Association. It's always on our websites. I know it's on the Players Association website.
Okay.
So I think they could do that.
Yeah.
But before I go, there's one other thing I just wanted to say. Even though collective bargaining was a big part of my job and what you guys do, but at rookie orientation every year, I used to tell the players, I'm like, listen, God willing, you're going to spend much more time not playing basketball than you're going to be playing basketball. So my job, especially for WNBA players, when you guys weren't making nearly as much money as the men, was to help prepare you for life after basketball. Yes. So to that extent, that's to me even just as important as what the players are doing now. And so I say that to say that what you guys are trying to do, I know the Players Association is continuing to implement programs to help players that are currently playing, but what you guys are trying to do to prepare players for life after basketball and to prepare them for retirement, to me is just as important or even more important, because like I said, God willing, you're going to spend much more time not playing basketball than you are going to be playing basketball. And so if there's anything I can do to assist you in those efforts, Goody, you can always pick up the phone, call me. You need some more information about, I'll try to do as much as I can with the CBA in interpretations and that sort of thing. But this has definitely been great for me. I got to actually jump, but I kind of feel like, even though my daughter's 13, but my first birth baby was the WNBA, right? So I started in 1999. So that was my first baby. And so, you don't never stop loving that first child. So I will always love you guys. Thank you so much for inviting me on, Goody. And let me know if there's anything I can do, because I'm always here.
Pam, I got to thank you, though. I don't know if you remember, but guys, I actually took the whole 2000 season off because of depression. And
I didn't know that.
Pam, yeah. I struggled with depression my whole WNBA career, and I wasn't being treated. I don't know what I was doing, but she helped me maintain my benefits because they weren't going to give me my benefits during the 2000. And she told me I should be getting paid, but I refused. I think I was so mad. I was like, I don't want their money. But she was just there in my corner, and it was just she always goes the extra mile. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Val.
thank you.
I was
you,
thinking
Pam.
about that, but of course, I wasn't going to say anything. But
No, yeah.
I'm glad
And Pam,
everything.
before you go, Pam, I just want to reiterate what I said earlier, that for the people that are on here, Pam created that little ripple that's still generating big results today.
Absolutely.
And, when you were in the union, I was a GM on the other side, but I always tried to do what was right for the players. And I just want to say, I hope everybody understands your contribution.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to have you on the show.
Yes,
And
thank
it's
you.
great to give you that visibility, and I just want to say thank you because, like I say, every place, everything has a starting point, and you were a starting point.
Thank you,
for,
Pam.
for getting the players some good rights, some good money,
Oh my
rights.
God, I'm getting ready to cry over here. Stop.
Sorry, crying,
You
y'all.
guys have no idea. This my peoples
I'm
over
happy to
there.
see
That's
you.
my peoples over there.
That's right.
She made me wanna be bigger, better, faster, smarter, wiser. What made me wanna work for the Players Association. Like that was like my ultimate job, man. So thank you for planting a seed. Doesn't mean no, it's just it might be deferred. But shout out to all of my people. We got Skip to my man Skip to my Lou came on.
What
What's
up,
up?
Rafe?
What's up, Gracie Alston? What
Thank
you
you, baby.
doing, boy? So,
How do I get
shout
out
out
of
to
here?
a
I'm
lot
not
of
familiar
people
with
on
this.
there.
How do I get
And
out of here?
any
You
closing
can't get
thoughts?
rid of us, Pam. You can't
I
get
know,
rid
right?
of us.
I'm like, wait, I'm stuck in blue dream purgatory.
That's because you're not supposed to. That's because you're not supposed to go until I click you off of here.
All right.
Right? We always take her. Pam said she would say what she was gonna say. Tamika, give us some closing thoughts, love.
I echo what everybody else was saying, Pam. We
Uh-oh, she
appreciate it.
changed from
Listen,
she ain't
I
piggybacking no more.
I appreciate I appreciate all you do personally, and I know we, as a collective, always appreciated what you did for us. I spent a lot of time with you and phone calls back and forth with you as well. So just on behalf of the former players and everybody here, we appreciate everything you did, and we thank you. And hopefully, we can call on you whenever we need you moving forward with with whatever new things we got, and just pick your brain on some new things that's coming.
Absolutely.
Anything, Val? Anything?
I'm just still
I
grateful
introduced
for.
on the show. Carolyn Towns.
I'm not going to be asked back, am I? You're not going to ask. I want to come back.
Val, you
I'm not going to be
coming
asked back, am I?
You're gonna be asked back. Matter of fact, you coming back next week.
All right. I do want to say I used to look up to Penny. Penny, I used to what?
Hey,
Picking a bad time to be an introvert, Val. Okay. Now, bottom line is this: you gotta let everybody know about the TikTok. You coming back next week?
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely talk about that.
Yes.
TikTok
yeah, we want Tara to interject on that. Yes. Tara can't wait.
My girl over there.
I can't. I cannot wait.
Come on and bring us home.
Well, I'd say today it's been a pleasure. We had some great people on, Val and Pam. It was really a joy to see you again. And I just want to say that everybody out there, you're looking at progress. You're looking at progress when you're watching this show. I think, Goody is Sunday brunch. I want to take my hat off to you. I look forward to these shows, and it's a lovely show with some great people, and if they say you can't be together physically, you can be together virtually. So for me, I'm gonna take us
Love
home
it
and
when
say
you're wet,
it's
baby.
been an
Love it when you're
awesome,
wet.
it's been an awesome Sunday morning with you people this morning. So I want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you,
Yes,
Adrian.
yes,
Penny,
yes.
Penny, can I have your autograph? I used to watch you on TV. I'm serious. When I was in high school, I just want your
Val,
autograph.
Val, you can have whatever you want. I always tell people out there that they
Please,
can have
Val, please. I got to deal with this every Sunday, please.
Yo, but Penny, did you used to have a gold tooth?
For the passion of
Did you have a
Christ.
gold tooth in college? Did you have a
Penny,
gold
you
tooth
never
in
had no
college?
gold
No,
tooth.
I don't know why people think that. No, I didn't have a gold tooth. I had a gap tooth. But when you start making
Oh.
money,
Stop lying. You know you had a gold tooth. Stop lying. You had a gold
and the
tooth.
Well, you had a gold
and the
tooth.
reason and the reason I didn't have a gold tooth is I didn't have no money to buy one.
Gold tooth. Don't make me bring Donna Harrington on here. You had a gold tooth.
No, I didn't. What I was, and this is what I tell everybody, and this will be a segment in my memoirs, and this will be a segment in my memoirs, and you're gonna have to read the memoirs to get the whole picture. But it was like I thank God for my parents to give me confidence, and when I say confidence, with or without that gap, I was confident. But obviously, when you make more money and you achieve a lot of things, even I was smart enough to understand that there are certain appearances that people look at first. And yeah, I took the money that I made overseas and I invested in putting braces on my teeth that my parents couldn't afford for me. And this is why I look now, and just to give people just a quick thing, this is why I always tell people when I meet people, everybody has a story. Because I even have players that came up in the Sparks and they would say to me, Penny, you don't know what it's like to be without. I go, my parents wasn't rich. My mom was a maid. But when I started making my own money and I understood that my parents didn't have it, no, I invested in bracelets. I remember I had the braces on my teeth, Mick. I think when you was there,
remember.
I had the
Yeah,
braces on my teeth
I
for
remember the
think like
whole
5
thing.
years. And honestly, those doctors were amazing. And I tell my dentist now, you can't die until I die and bury me with my mouth open. I got the price of the course for me. I got the price of the course. That's why you
Oh God.
right now. Hey, yo, Kenny.
We're going to go out on that. We're going to go out on that one because I remember those braces, Virginia. I remember. Shout out to all my people. We toasted up before we leave. Everybody have a
Love
great
you
week.
guys, man.
Appreciate
Love
you,
you guys.
ladies.
Love you guys too.
Bye.
Stay safe.
See you
Stay
guys.
safe, everybody.
You too.
Bye bye.
Have a beautiful
Bling
week.
blinging and pinky ringing. Sammy Sosa. Love y'all.
Love you.